I'm here today with Jennifer Cortez. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, Sarah. I'm so excited to be here.
Yeah, it's awesome to have you. Jennifer is the CMO at Alkami. And so, yeah, tell us a little bit about yourself because you're new.
Yeah.
Right? Tell us a little bit about yourself and the company.
Yeah, well, I've been Alkami in the fintech space for 7.5 years. Spent a lot of my time coming in doing events, digital marketing, done a little bit of product marketing, and so now I'm leading the team at Alkami.
Nice.
So it's been great. Work with a lot of customers in the credit union space, obviously, and it's just been a fantastic experience overall. Yeah.
Credit unions are awesome.
They are. They really are. I have a relationship with a credit union that has, guided me in some of the early times of my life and early stages of my financial journey being an advisor to me. So I always really appreciate what they do and how they support their members. So it's been a great experience, and it's really cool to come and work with a company that supports credit unions as well.
Oh yeah. Can't get credit unions, especially nowadays, and it's not just credit unions, but banks too. They can't do all the technology themselves anymore. Sometimes they build their own core, and now
it's overwhelming the way everything changes so quickly. So we love that we can be there to help and support.
Awesome. So you're a CMO.
Yeah.
You've been in marketing for a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
How is the role of well, there are some credit unions that have CMOs, but how's the role of marketing in general kind of changed with time?
I mean, I think obviously, the emergence of digital really, has changed a lot in that space. And then post-pandemic, digital became more prevalent. I think nowadays that marketers that are leading this function at financial institutions and credit unions, it's not just about your marketing craft and knowing the traditional marketing, branding, and what we've known in those channels. You actually have to be equal part a data and a technology leader in that marketing role now, because I think marketing leaders have a big role to play in what that customer experience is. And part of doing that well nowadays is being a data and a technology leader and knowing how to leverage data and tech to take that customer experience and digitize it for the member so that they have that feel of that relationship that's always been there with their credit union, but in the channels they like to interact with now.
Right.
Yeah.
And you mentioned COVID, that we saw where credit unions did not measure up in technology services because, that was the time when bank satisfaction kind of went up and credit union satisfaction kind of came down a little bit. But yeah, I think that we're definitely in the process of closing that gap for sure.
Yeah.
And so, why do you think credit unions need to be involved in marketing in a kind of like you were saying, more relational, using the data rather than transactional?
Yeah, it's interesting. We do a lot of our own research every year. We do a big generational trends research report with the Center for Generational Kinetics with Jason Dorsey. And as we do that, sometimes people are leery of data, or that we say we're leery of data, but our research actually shows us that 60% of those digital banking consumers actually expect you to use that data to help give them a more personalized experience. At Alkami, we talk a lot more of going beyond personalization. We talk about anticipatory banking. It's not just, I want you to personalize, something with my name or know something about me. I actually want you to look at the data and the channels that I'm active in and anticipate what I might need next. And I think that if credit unions in particular, like I said, the biggest strength that they have is that relationship they've had with that member. So you're taking that relationship where they know their members deeply. They actually were doing probably some level of anticipatory banking in person, and it's how do I recreate that relationship in now that digital channel, because that's where they want that to happen a lot of the time. I also think what's great, and we saw this coming out of, I think, COVID, is what I love about credit unions is they want to be innovative. So when it comes to regional and community institutions in general, they like to be the first. So coming, when all that hit during COVID, they were like, okay, it's time. Let's make sure that we're really active. We're creating a really great digital experience out there.
Yeah. And obviously that's more important these days. Like the member experience, I would argue, is more important than your rates.
Yeah.
I'm sure you guys are finding that
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the other piece of our research that shows is if they aren't feeling that relationship is there and that experience is there, you risk attrition, right? And so you have to. It's kind of another way we recommend looking at data. Data can tell you what to offer. It can help you grow the institution and offer relevant products. But data can also tell you if you have at-risk membership that might be likely to go somewhere else. I think, especially as we see this with the younger generations,
Yes.
you know, I'm raising 2 Gen Alphas, and I feel like with each generation that there's that impatience there, and they want everything right now, and they want it to work like immediately. So that need for immediacy becomes really, really prevalent. So I think that's where data plays a role in multiple different ways as you look at what that member experience is.
Yeah, Gen Z is not going to put up with your, ancient old app or
No.
I've watched it myself. I've
No.
got some Gen Z kids too, not at home, on their own. But they really demand more. And I think in addition to the technology, obviously, and the data and the personalization, because that's very important to them as well. But they also want you to support good, like support, be a pillar of the community, basically.
Yeah.
And, there's no better than credit unions.
You know, I think that's it's a really good thing that you call out there. It's a really good point that credit unions kind of stand apart from other institutions out there is how much they do give back to their community and how much they care. Gen Z in particular, and we've also seen this in some of the research we've done, they care deeply about causes like that. And so there's an opportunity to develop a rapport there with them early because credit unions do so much for their local community out there. The other thing that I have been a part of is we do a big women in banking movement at Alkami. We do regional events, and we had some of our credit union customers come and talk about their community events and kind of talking to the next generation through the generation that banks there. Because, when you think about the members you have, a lot of times younger generations open an account or bank where their parents did. So it's a great opportunity now to tap into those younger generations as you see maybe behavior from, members where, hey, maybe I have a kid that is starting a job or they're going to go off to college and I see something that's showing me that something could be happening. Let's start a relationship or talk about developing, a youth banking relationship there. And then you start to kind of educate those younger members about the types of community things that you're doing. Absolutely. And then the worlds come together. The branding side and the technology side start to work together.
Well, hopefully this will get us there because I feel like that's one of the greatest threats for credit unions is the lack of brand awareness of credit unions overall, not necessarily individual ones, but as an industry. We could go out there and nobody tell you what a credit union is, and they do. I think a lot of the problem too is credit unions don't even recognize when they have a story, and with data, you can actually say, okay, this happened when these many things followed through and whatever. So using the data can also absolutely tell a story. I love data journalism. I actually would love to go.
I think that's true, and I think so. You kind of start with the relationships that you have, and then you look at how you can grow those relationships further. We look at what we do in our technology, and we think beyond just like digital banking. We talk about digital sales and digital service. We want to have a place where you can not just like a service channel for these members, but where can you equally take one platform and have that service there? How can you acquire new customers? And then how can you leverage data to continuously market and be, provide what they want when they want it, at the right time and the right channel. But beyond that, it's the marketer's dilemma. It's no different for a credit union than it is any other modern marketer out there. Like, I think about how the world's evolved and how people want to consume content. I've spent most of my career in B2B marketing.
Right.
And now I go, you know what? We have to start creating content in different ways that younger generations absorb. Maybe I do have to create videos for channels like TikTok because they're out there getting financial advice in places like that. So it's actually a really great opportunity to go out there and amplify your brand, but you just have to look at the modern channels to do it. I remember when social media started, and one of my earlier jobs, and I was like, I think we should start this Facebook page, and people looked at me like I was crazy. And now social media has blown up. I
Yep.
think we see that same relationship as marketing continues to be evolving, and as a marketing leader, no matter where you are, look at and take that and go, okay, let's see what channels the next generation is engaged in, and let's get ahead of that,
Yeah.
and let's see how we can do that in a way that is still authentic to ourselves and our brand.
Right. Authentic to yourselves, but also authentic to the people who are the intended audience. Because I think
Exactly.
that's one of the issues. Because I've seen credit unions on TikTok, and God love them, but
Yeah.
but it can be done wrong too. But yeah, using data, for example,
Yeah.
you can know what people want. Generally speaking, you can kind of figure that out.
Yeah, I think the authenticity point is really important too, because obviously, we all talk about AI. Everybody's using AI, and we see in marketing a lot of it's being leveraged for content. And I think you're going to see kind of a way where some of that type of content, those channels, gets it kind of unoriginal because everybody's doing the same thing. So you really have to go in there and personalize that to be authentic to that audience as well, to make sure that you don't become noise. I think that if we're not careful, every time something new with technology emerges and everybody starts to use it, it picks up, everybody adopts it really quickly, but sometimes it can become noise, especially in
Yeah.
digital marketing channels. So I think making sure, I think that's where that human-led piece will still play a role, to make
Yes.
sure that whatever you leverage data to do when it comes to your marketing does have that personal touch, does have some of that authenticity
And I
there
think
as
AI
well.
is allowing that,
Yeah.
allowing for that, for sure, to get more humans involved in front of the member.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And so, what would you advise credit unions that are, say, looking to build up their brand, maybe even through their mobile banking, for example?
Yeah.
There's lots of opportunities there. Where would you suggest credit unions work on that?
I think, make sure that there's so many tools out there. It can be really, really confusing. So think about, just where your priorities lie, and think about how you're integrating all the different solutions you have. It's very easy with so many tools being out there to actually overwhelm the member, because you're having all these bells and whistles, but you're sending them multiple places to do it. But if you can find one hub, one centralized hub, if you interact with them, most of them are interacting on digital in many cases now, how much can I offer them within one place so they're not having to go multiple places? Because at the end of the day, we talk about digital creating less friction. In a way, with so many different tools out there, we sometimes create more. So
Yes.
look at where you can go out there, and like I said, that's where we've really been talking about digital sales and service in one place. How do we create that same experience in one place to make that experience for that end user, seamless and frictionless and very, very personalized to meet their needs?
Yeah. And anticipate what they might need down the road.
100%.
Yeah.
They expect you to do it. Like I said, as weary as people can be with data, we all are. I think at the end of the day about the channels where I interact. And so as you get nervous about your data, you go, no, but I want you to do this for me. I
Right.
want you to make it easy
Well, then
for
you
me.
have to give me the data. Yeah.
Yeah. There's like a balance there, right?
And I think especially in the banking app, there is a real opportunity to deepen the relationships too.
100%.
And that's really important for Gen Z and younger people as well, because there again, you're trying to come across as genuine.
Yeah.
You're coming across as a pillar of the community, and you're also helping them with a solution
Yeah.
in the time of need.
Yeah.
Because you see their car loan's 3 years old and maybe they want a new car.
Yeah.
Things
Yeah.
like that you can anticipate.
Yeah, and I think that that's when you go into those examples, anticipating that and really making sure you're paying attention to the data is key, because what you don't want to do, and this was, I've been in digital marketing for a while. When we got our hands on digital tools, it was like, oh man, I can target this audience, and I can turn on this ad and run it. What we don't want to do is turn things like that on, and then all of a sudden you just had somebody apply for a loan and you offer them another ad for a loan, right? So it's, hey, they've done this action. Now what can I do with my data? What can I look at to see
What do they need next?
what's next for them? Or if they just did this, maybe I can actually offer them some education or some advice. I think you want to be that that advisor to them at the same time, so that they come to you for their
Right.
financial advice. The relationship I have with my credit union, I have relationships with banks and credit unions, and I have larger institutions that I kind of feel are more of that transactional relationship.
Right.
I know the name of a person I work with at my credit union,
Right.
and that's more of that advisory type of relationship.
Absolutely.
So how do I take that and make that even easier for them to engage in that way in the digital channel?
Yeah, and I think too, credit unions have not been strong on cross-selling and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And so this offers perfect opportunity to be able to do that as
Yeah,
well. And
yeah.
so, yeah.
What we love in what we do in our digital sales and service platform, our data product looks at all the transactional data there, and we have what we call, key lifestyle indicators that help group all that data so that we are looking at like what could be next for them and trying to make sure that we're really, really personalized and paying attention to that member so that they feel like that person that knows them in branch, they're also getting that same kind of engagement in digital, and it feels authentic there that like, hey, you really are paying attention to me as an individual, what my buying patterns are, what it is that I may need assistance, on in the future. That's the whole idea there, is to recreate that in that space. And that just makes that if you do that, that loyalty will increase over time.
And I think too, this is also going to really change the perception of marketing within credit unions. Because I feel like there are times when marketers are like the pretty poster people.
Oh my gosh, my pet peeve is you guys throw parties and order swag, right? And I'm like, no, we drive growth. We want to be a growth engine, but we also want to be part of that customer experience in our world, member experience in the credit union world.
Exactly.
It's really crucial that marketers are engaged. We have access to all that data. And so I think that we own a real important part of that member experience in that relationship.
And so I always allow my guests final thoughts as we wrap up here. What would you like to leave our credit union audience with today?
Don't be afraid of the new and modern marketing channels out there. I think you got to be willing to take risks. If you want to be a leader, you want to be at the leading edge, that means testing out new channels and new strategies that maybe others haven't jumped in on yet. So, don't be afraid of taking those risks because that's what's going to set you apart from others in the space.
Bigger risk of not doing it, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you so much for your time, Jen. Appreciate it.
It was so nice to meet
Yes,
you.
you too.
Thanks, Sarah.